everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Marla and I make videos every week of the things that I make that you can make too. I posted recently on my social media this fruit hammock that I made, and I asked whether or not you wanted to see how to make it too, and a whole bunch of you said yes. So that's what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to show you not only how to do the macrame to make the hammock, but also how to install it either permanently, or also I've got a renter-friendly way of installing it as well. So let's get started. All right, let's talk about what you need for this project. One of the first things, most important you need, is this cotton macrame rope. This is 3mm rope. You need about 45 feet for this project. You don't need a big container like this, but I use it for several things, and I plan to make several of these fruit hammocks. So anyway, you need about 45 feet of that rope. You also need wood dowels. These I buy at the dollar store. They're 1/4 inch in diameter and 12 inches long. So you get, in this pack, you get 10 of them. So 10 for $1. You can make quite a few if you plan to make more than one. You also need these little cup hooks. I bought them in a larger container, again, 75 in this pack. They're 3/4 inch cup hooks. I wouldn't necessarily recommend this cup hook. You may want to look for others, because when I tried to screw them in, I actually broke several of them doing that. So you may want to try to find a more durable cup hook. In order to secure them temporarily, you're also going to need these little pieces of wood. You'll need 4 of them. They're soft wood. I also bought these at the dollar store. They actually come in this little mini Jenga game. And so this is what you'd be looking for if you want to try to find these. You could probably find these also in the dowel section of a craft store, in a long piece that you would just need to cut apart into 4 different pieces. And I'll show you how to use these in a minute. And then the last thing you would need to adhere them temporarily would be this Command brand Velcro. This one specifically holds up to 16 pounds, and you'd have 4 pieces of this to hold up the fruit hammock. They come in 6 pounds also, that will hold up to 6 pounds. I wouldn't recommend it. That is how I did it the first time. And I did have one corner that was falling off. So I would recommend going with the larger one that will hold up to 16 pounds instead. So let's go now and start practicing the 2 knots that you'll need to learn in order to do this macrame. I used the knobs on my cabinets to hold the dowel so that I could work my macrame hanging down. The gravity really helps keep it level. The 2 types of knots I'm going to show you today is the lark's head knot and the square knot. You're going to need both of those to do the body of the project, and then at the end I'll show you how to knot it off. For the lark's head knot, what you want to do is fold the rope in half, and at that point you want to tuck it behind your dowel, create a loop, and then pull the tails through. You should see the bump there on the rope that you've added. If you've done it backwards, you won't see that. I'll show you how to do that here. So this is the wrong way, where you go behind the dowel and pull it through. When that's the case, the 2 tails are hanging in front, and that's the wrong way. You want the rope to go over the dowel and down through, and then you pull the tails through the loop in the back. For this project, you would do the lark's head knot on all 8 ropes across the dowel. But before we do that, let's practice the square knot. The square knot uses these 4 strands, but it's the outer 2 that actually do the work. So to start, with the left strand over the 2 in the middle, you take the right strand over, under, and through. So over the left strand, under the 2 in the middle, and through the loop, and then tighten. That's the first half of the square knot. Now we're going to do the reverse on the other side. So you cross over the 2 in the middle with the rope on the right, taking the left rope over the one that you just added, behind the 2 in the middle, and through the loop, and then tighten. You always want to straighten the rope as you go, lining them up as you add more. So let's practice another one. You're going to follow the exact same process, starting on the left, then you go over, under, through. Leave some space and tighten, and then the reverse, starting with the right, over, under, through. Tighten the 2 ropes together and adjust as you need to. Now that we've learned our knots, let's prepare our rope for our project. You're going to need 8 pieces of rope 5.5 feet long. So what I've done here is taped my measuring tape down to my table in order to cut my first piece of rope. So I cut that rope at 5.5 feet, and then it's just easier to just use that initial rope to cut the others. So if you just line it up and work your way down your rope till you get to the end, and then you can cut that second piece. So that piece is also 5.5 feet long. Once you've done that, you can do that for all 8 pieces. Just do the same thing. Connect the end, work your way down the rope until you get to the end and cut it off. At that point, you need to have 8 pieces of rope, all 5.5 feet long. Now it's time to attach our 8 cords to our dowel using our lark's head knot. Once all 8 are in place, we're going to start with our square knots, just like we learned, over, under, and through, with our first half knot, and then the same with the second to make the full square knot. You're going to do that across the first row with 4 knots in the end. This project actually has 9 rows of square knots ending with a row of 4. But once you get these first 4 done, the next step in the next row, the pattern changes where you're just going to be doing 3 knots. So to do that, you set aside the first 2 ropes on the left side and start your first square knot with the next 4 ropes. So this is then going to create 3 knots in this second row. When you start the third row, you're going to pick up those 2 ropes on the left side and the right side to create your 4 knots. And then you just continue down as you go. Each row, either 4 knots or 3 knots until you get to a total of 9 rows. Now it's time to attach the bottom dowel with double knots. On the right, I've already done the double knot on the first two, and on the left, the last four, there's half of a knot. So now I'm going to show you how to do the double knot. So the first thing you do is push the strands to the back, wrap them around the front left to right, poke the strands through the hole, and pull down to tighten. Let's do one more. Push the ropes to the back, wrap around to the front, left to right. That creates a hole. Tuck the tails through and pull down to tighten. Once you've done that, push the tails to the back. To complete the double knot, you're going to pull the tail up on the left, creating a loop, and then push the tails right to left through that loop, and then pull down. And again, push the tails to the back. As you can see, the tails aren't very long here. You may want to cut your rope longer than 5.5 feet if you want extra here. You can drill a hole into your cabinet and attach the cup hook directly, but I used the wood and the Velcro for mine. Now let's work on how to attach it. So we'll take our little piece of wood, it's 2 inches long. So at about 1 inch, you want to put a mark on your little piece of wood so you know where to drill your hole. I used a drill bit just slightly smaller than the actual cup hook, but big enough to actually make the cup hook go in really easily. So then just drill your hole in the little piece of wood. I do go all the way through the wood to the bottom. And you'll see here in a second that the cup hook actually goes, pokes out the bottom. So you can either do that or you can just turn it back a little bit so that it's not actually poking out the other side. Now we'll move on to the Velcro strips. You need to cut a piece of Velcro strip the length of the wood, which is 2 inches, and then cut off the rest of it. The rest of this you could use underneath the cabinet because you'll need a piece for that as well, but they are kind of short. I would recommend that you cut an additional 2-inch piece for the cabinet. So this is how it looks on mine. Like I said earlier, I used the 6-pound Velcro, but that's how it looks. To attach your hammock, thread the dowel through the front hole further than you need to at first, so it'll give you room to insert it into the dowel in the back, and then spread your macrame rope across the dowel evenly. Do the same on the other side, and then the last step is to cut your tails. So as you can see, these aren't that even, but it isn't going to matter. Once you have your fruit in there, the tails don't really show as the dowel rolls around. So just cut each tail to about 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, and then you're done. That's it. I hope you like this one and you give it a try. If you've never done macrame, it's a really simple way to get started, and try it out and see if it's something you like. It's also a very useful product in the end. Thanks so much for joining me today. I really appreciate your support, and I hope you come back next week when we make something new. Thanks, take care, bye-bye.